Hello, ladies, and welcome to another episode of the Sexy Side of Menopause. I am here to encourage you and inspire you as you make your way through this menopause journey and bring women who are doing phenomenal things and let you know this can be the best time of your life. So my guest today, I bring her from another part of the world. She's across the pond. I'm so excited to have you here. Julie, welcome, 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 and please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you so much, Beverly. I'm so excited to be here. So, yes, I'm from the UK, hence the accent. And really, I help people around feeling better about who they are so they can be their best self and live their best life. So, I am 67 and I don't know if anyone watching is that kind of age, but I'm here to tell
I'm in the
you
club with you. I'm in this club. We're all here together and we're
it's
encouraging the young
good.
ones to come along. Yes.
Yeah, some people say life begins at 50, but hey, it can begin whenever you want it to.
So true. So true. So let's talk about your amazing career. When we met previously, and this is how you ended up on the Sexy Side of Menopause, I'm like, you have to talk to my ladies because sometimes women see themselves in a specific space, like I'm the wife, I'm the mother, but then society is changing. There's so many opportunities that are starting to come forth for us with technology, and now we have AI, and you could just make your own mark in this world. And so for you, my dear, you are what? Let's tell them some of the things that you've been involved in.
Well, so I've mostly been an actor. So when I was younger, I didn't really feel that I fitted in. I didn't really feel that I was really enough. And the only place that I really felt at home was doing amateur dramatics. And that led to me going to drama college and then becoming a professional actor. And what I loved about it was that I could be anything and anyone, and it was okay for me to be someone else. But in my real life, I felt like I never kind of matched up. And really, my journey has been one that has enabled me over time to really be happy with who I am. And I think that actually, if we can be anything in life, it is important that we are happy with who we are. But it's been a long, long journey. So although I was sort of happy, on the stage, I really felt in my other the rest of my life, which was most of my life, that I wasn't enough, and that led to me having all sorts of behaviours that weren't healthy. Smoking 30 cigarettes a day, drinking way too much, being in the wrong relationships, relationships that didn't nourish me. And over time, really, through those kind of challenging and difficult times, becoming who I am today. But, obviously, it took some work. It took some um, working with some people who kind of helped me and have my back and really, really enable me to discover for myself who I am. And I guess it's a kind of ongoing journey, isn't it, Bev? Over time we grow hopefully into the person that we want to be, and it's a kind of day by day thing. And I think that's what's so wonderful about life, that it's never a done deal. We're never kind of fixed. There's no fixing. It's about, who are we becoming on a daily basis?
Yes, that's so fascinating. So when you told me that you had been in theater, you were like an actress,
Yeah.
that was like, oh my goodness, how we can take a scenario and make it art, make it come across with such emotion and such passion. I am a person, I love to go to see theater. I love to see this, like during the holiday season, the Nutcracker, and I watch people embody this whole new personality. And I think how amazing it is to be able to tap into that. But I also parallel that to our lives. It's like, especially as women, we have this role that we show up in and we're doing a phenomenal job, but we could actually take off that persona and step into something different. And you've done amazing things with that ability, in addition to the fact, as you've navigated your life, you found that you needed some support in certain
Yeah.
areas. And I think when we talk about women on this journey, it's like we're overwhelmed sometimes and we feel like we're suffering in silence. And we can use support of other people, be in community, and understand what other women are going through. So you actually found support through this process. So let's talk a little bit about how these important people came to help you along this journey.
So, when I was younger, I was more. I used to hang around men more than women, actually. I never kind of something happened when I was younger. I can't quite remember, but I somehow thought that women didn't really like me. And it wasn't until my probably my 40s that I discovered how extraordinary women are. And I actually felt like I could really, really benefit from being around women, and I felt really nourished around women. So now I can't imagine my life without women. But it took me a kind of long time before I discovered that whatever happened way back then probably a young girl, and me feeling like I wasn't okay and that I didn't fit in, that actually I could absolutely find a tribe of women who, were really, really going to not only add to my life, but a tribe of women who I could actually, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but I could actually contribute to as well. So it took me a long time, but I can't quite remember what your question was actually.
It's about the people that came along to support you on this
Yeah,
journey, like what type of capacity that they showed up. Did you have to get somebody in a therapeutic way? Did you get
yeah.
somebody that was like a mentor? Because I want women to know like you can do this, but sometimes there's some people that come into your life to help you navigate this where it doesn't have to be so difficult and challenging. And that's one of the reasons why the sexy side of menopause is here, because I want to inspire women and encourage them. Like if you're going through something, just know other women have gone through it too, and this is what they've done to navigate it, come out on the other side, and have such a magnificent life.
So the first time I got support from an expert was I was doing, so I've worked at the National Theatre, I've done a little bit of television, I've done a lot of voiceover work, and I was doing a voiceover for IKEA. Do you have an IKEA in the States?
Yes, yes, we
Yeah.
do. And I actually have purchased IKEA, and I won't do it anymore because it requires a lot of capabilities that I don't have.
Yeah, but I used to work for IKEA regularly, and I used to go to the recording studio maybe for 5 days. And I always loved the work, always had fun with the people that I work with. They always loved what I did. And on this particular occasion, when I went in, I was pregnant with my daughter. So I was 39 because I had her actually on my 40th birthday, which was the best gift ever. Anyway, I went into the studio to do this job, and I had this kind of rush that came over my body, which looking back, it must have been the hormones, but I didn't realize that at the time. And in that moment of this physical experience, I was rendered speechless, which is rubbish if you're doing a voiceover. Now, it was probably only seconds, the whole experience. But because I'd never experienced anything like that before, and because it kind of really shocked me, I had this thought, oh my God, I hope this doesn't happen again. And it started to play on my mind. And I then became afraid when I was booked for another job that I was going to have the same experience. And it became this self-fulfilling prophecy. I had what I labeled panic attacks. And in the end, I had to go and see a hypnotherapist. And it was really a last resort because I realized that my life was kind of closing down, that I was avoiding things. I was saying no to things because I was afraid that this would happen and I'd be discovered. And so I went to a hypnotherapist, and working with her, managed to shift that behavior. And at the end of it, I was so sort of gobsmacked that that had happened. I thought, wow, if someone could do that for me, what if I could do that for someone else? So I trained to be a hypnotherapist. And I thought it'd be really great. I'm looking after my daughter, I'm doing my voiceover work, having another stream of income would be really good. So I was seeing clients from home, and that was really great. And then I decided to go and see someone to get some EFT. Do you know EFT, Bev?
Yeah, it's like, is that like tapping?
It's a tapping technique. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
it's very simple. It's quite repetitive, and it looks like it wouldn't do anything, but actually, it's really, really effective. And I went to see someone, and it was extraordinary the experience that I had, and I thought I'd like to train in that. So I trained as an EFT practitioner. Then I discovered life coaching, and then I loved the combination of life coaching and EFT. So I dropped the hypnotherapy and that so that happened, but on the course really of my journey, I just discovered so many things about myself, and I discovered new people on the way. And I think, if we're open to change, that's when
Yes.
we start to meet people and open up to all sorts of extraordinary possibilities. And I know that's been the case for you, isn't it, Bev?
That is so awesome. I want to have a little discussion around EFT,
Hmm.
but also staying with the conversation on change because I believe truly that as we make our way along this menopause journey and this change happens, it's happening for us. It's not happening to us. It's not a bad thing. And I feel like it's something that has been demonized, and women are so afraid of this process. And when you're able to have conversations or be in a community where women are sharing their experiences, then it's not so overwhelming and scary, and you can prepare for it. And honestly, the preparation really should start, late 30s, I would say, at the best time frame, because what you're eating and how you're taking care of yourself will impact you when you get to this place. But as you go through this change, there's so much that can open up for you. And we can go into how my life has changed a little bit so women can have a bird's eye view if they haven't been following me throughout my entire journey. But all of this happens because I have leaned into change. And even though my body's changes not the same, I love my body. I'm so grateful for my body. And I look forward to having her to continue in good health so we can have so many more experiences. So you talked about how EFT helped you, and I didn't train in EFT, but I followed a woman who did, and I started using those practices. And actually, I don't use it as much. From time to time, it'll come to my mind. But I know somebody who had trauma over flying, and EFT helped her through it. And it helped you through your journey as you were navigating your life. So let's talk to the women a little bit, to give them insight for those who've never heard of EFT.
So EFT is a tapping technique, and it's based on a premise that any kind of disruption, any in inverted commas negative emotion, because actually all emotions are important,
Yes,
is a disruption in the body's energy system. And by tapping on specific points which are aligned to meridians,
yes.
and using language which can very much interrupt patterns in the brain, we can shift all sorts of things, and it can be physical pain or it can be emotional stuff. Most things that are happening, there's some emotional attachment, and it can be really effective. I would use it on absolutely anything. And the great thing is, because it's just tapping, on very gently, so you're not bruising yourself
Yeah.
at specific points, and using language, it's not invasive, so you're not going to hurt yourself. So and also, once you learn the technique, which is very simple, it's very easy to use it anywhere. And then the amazing thing is that actually you don't actually have to tap, but if in your mind's eye you see yourself tapping on those points, then you can also shift something, which might seem a little bit crazy to those people that have never experienced it, but that is possible. So it can be used for anything. When I was going through the menopause, I didn't really know anything about EFT at that point. And I was also going through divorce. So, and also at that time, there was less information about it. There certainly wasn't anyone talking about menopause being sexy, is why I love what you were talking about, Bev. But actually, it was all very much the change and it being really awful and oh my God, and people kind of talking to you like they were wearing lead boots, And because the symptoms that I had, so yeah, I had hot flushes. I also noticed my skin thinning, And I noticed my confidence kind of dwindling. But then I was going through divorce, so who knows which was which. But one of the things looking back that I know is really, really important, and at the time I didn't take HRT or anything. I took black cohosh, I think it was.
Yes, yes, yes.
But I think that what's really important is self-care. It's being kind to ourselves. It doesn't matter whether it's menopause or anything else. It's a really important thing every single day to be in the habit, even if it's only 5 minutes a day, and we can all find 5 minutes,
Yes.
to really be kind to ourselves and take some time for ourselves. And I think, there are many things we can do, and I'm sure you talk about many of those things, Bev, but, things like, eating food that's actually going to nourish us and enable our body to do the things it needs to do, but also our self-talk. It's really, really important that we are big. When I say bigging ourselves up, I don't mean in an arrogant sort of way, but we
Right.
actually really, really embrace who we are. And I love that you talk about loving your body, Bev, because we've got one body, and most of us at some point in our life, maybe for some people all of their life, have been so unkind, and it just takes a lot of beating our body. And if we really, really want to be happy, we have to embrace the bits of ourselves that we find challenging to embrace. It's really, living life as a whole person is about acknowledging and accepting those parts of ourselves that perhaps we wish we didn't have, or that should be a different way. It's really, really important. And one of the great things about EFT is that, if I'm working with someone and they don't accept a part of themselves, by tapping on a specific point and using the language which is, even though I don't accept myself, I accept not accepting myself, which is actually accepting myself.
Okay. So let's do a very quick demonstration because I've taken the opportunity to have acupuncture and cupping on a regular basis. And I know when I was talking to the doctor, she was saying when they do acupuncture, they tap into the meridians, and this is where they're getting unblocked energy to start flowing and releasing. And there's a diagram that you can pull up and it'll show you all of your meridians. But when you're tapping, I think it's like your head and it's like chin or
So it
somewhere.
would be the karate chop point.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be the eyebrow. So you'd use it if you're tapping on the right side of your head, use your right hand.
Mm-hmm.
So the edge of your eyebrow, the bottom of your eyebrow, underneath your eye,
Okay.
underneath your nose,
Okay.
between your lips and your chin, where you would not a tie if you're wearing a tie. I
Mm-hmm.
usually use a fist underneath
Okay.
the armpit, in the middle of the
Right
bra
here.
strap,
Right here.
and then on the top of the head.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah. So
Yeah.
so it looks a bit strange.
I'm sure it does, but for those who have never heard of EFT or it's like over their head, at least they have some visual to go along with it and then they can do a little more research. But it's also important as you're doing that tapping is to bring in those affirming statements so
Yeah.
you can have that embodied within the points that you're tapping on.
What's really great though, Bev, is that actually you say someone, kind of wakes up and they're all in a bit of a funk and they don't really know which way's up. You know how sometimes people find it useful to write down, like morning pages, to write
Right.
down a stream of
Right.
consciousness. Don't need to
Yes.
read it
Yes.
back. You can
Right.
actually do the same thing with tapping. You can say,
Tapping.
even though I feel a bit today, you can just tap and say whatever you like, and it's actually going to really enable stuff to run through. But until you actually experience it, it's one of those things. It is experiential, isn't it? You have
Yes.
to kind of do it.
Yes.
You don't really know. It doesn't really make much sense, and it is one of those things that when you start doing it, you notice the difference.
Yes.
You can do
Yes.
it for cravings and all sorts,
Right.
craving, maybe someone who's a smoker or it doesn't want to eat something in particular. They just have this craving, and you can use the tapping to interrupt that. And
Yeah. Anxiety
yeah,
is a big one that I hear people have used
yeah.
it for.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to use all the points. You can just use, say you just feel a bit anxious going into an interview, or, you can just, or even if you're in an interview and you don't want to be seen to be tapping, there's a point on your thumb, on the edge of your thumb, you can tap that. So you can have it, your arm by the chair. No one's going to
Yes.
see it. And you can kind of just tap it, and that also can make a difference as well. So it's quite versatile, really.
That's really good. That's a tool for your toolbox, ladies. I know for those who may be introduced to this for the first time, it might seem like, oh, I don't really get it. But I promise you, if you take the time to do a little study into it and bring it into your practice, this can be something that can help you to fall more deeply into your body because you're bringing the stillness in and you're focusing your mind and your body on this moment in time. And sometimes we get so far ahead of ourselves with all of these things we got to do that we don't find time to get centered and start focusing on us.
Absolutely. We can spend a lot of time in our heads, can't we, with that dialogue that just goes round and round and round. It doesn't really go anywhere, it just round and round and round. It doesn't get us any new ideas. It's just like the same stuff. Because the brain likes to do what it knows best. So habits that are already entrenched, it's like, yeah, I know how to do that. Don't tell me how to try, to do something else. I'm doing this. I'm an expert at doing that. So with tapping, you're actually working with the brain. So you're giving it possible options, and then it can go, oh, yeah, maybe I could. You're not telling it what to do, and that's the thing. We don't like being told what to do. So it's really, really important that we just do things that open us up to the possibility of change, and being curious about, oh, but what if,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
This is such an amazing share. I really appreciate you bringing it to the ladies. I am an advocate of trying to do as much as we can naturally and holistically. And sometimes some of these modalities that are just common for me may be brand new to people that, like, oh my God, let me check into it. And then finding it's something that they can really utilize to help move them further into a place of self love, self care. It's all about bringing your body, mind, and spirit into a place that it is balanced. A lot of the things that we're doing keeps us busy and focus on things that are external. We have to bring the focus inside. I took a trip to Egypt and I absolutely fell in love with Egypt, and being there, seeing these big pyramid structures and going into areas where you got to see the hieroglyphics and you see these women who were doing things to take care of themselves holistically and naturally. There are these images of different herbs and showing them using them to put some type of tincture or something together, and it had pictures of organs that tied to it, which we are knowing now is like they were using essential oils. These are things that we need to be bringing into our bodies now. It's been so ancient that we need it today, and I really advocate for women to try to bring in as much natural and holistic practices as possible. And for
Absolutely.
me, it's it's just the way we're supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know whether you've always been like that, Bev, but a lot of us haven't. And I think also, I'm generalizing obviously, but women can put themselves at the bottom of the list. They're doing this, they're taking care of this thing and that thing and their kids and whatever. And actually, it's really, really important that we put ourselves on that list. And when we fill ourselves up and take care of ourselves and we begin the process of loving ourselves, we have more to give. We have more to give. And, the other thing is that we're role modeling all the things that we do. And if we are role modeling that actually we're not important and we're somehow showing, we're not saying it, but we show it anyway in our behavior to our children or grandchildren or whatever, or people that we work with, that we don't care. People know, they know when they meet us whether we care about ourselves or not.
I
You can't,
love me.
you can't fake it. You can't fake it. So, it's important that we are role modeling to the younger generation, to younger women, that actually it's really important that you love, find a way to love yourself because life doesn't really work. Not really. We can't really be happy if we're not loving ourselves, if we're not beginning that process of loving ourselves. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily easy, but I know it's worth it.
Yes, yes. I so agree with that. I spent a couple of months in Paris. I did my sabbatical, a year of travel. So I did a couple of months in Paris. And then I went to Egypt. That's the most recent one within less than a 12-month time frame. And when I was in Paris, one of the things that really resonates with me, and I love Paris, I've been there. That's like my fifth trip. I absolutely love it. This is the first time I've had a very extended experience where I can really find myself grounded into the culture and living like a Parisian. And the thing that is so important that I want to bring to the ladies here is like Parisians, French in general, maybe Europeans across the board, they have a way of bringing in the slowness of life. Not on this treadmill of going, checking off all of these things off the list. They are present when they are having their meals. They are present when they're out walking their dogs or when they're in the antique shops getting something. They are very intentional and they slow down. And we as Americans, especially as women, we need to bring that into our lives because that going, it wears on your body. And we're at the stage now where our bodies need so much care and slowing down and being present and finding those moments to just focus on you. It just calms the nervous system. And even as I'm talking, I can feel myself being back in Paris.
I can feel my nervous system calming as you're talking like that as well. I think you're so right. I think people kind of overlook the fact that slowing down and being present is where the joy is. It really is. If we when we can be in the present moment, we can be with anything. Grief, happiness, whatever. We can be with it all, I think. And
Yes,
all we have is a present anyway. So yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Because if you're not in the present, you're looking back.
yeah,
And that will bring up depression sometimes. You're looking at the way life was, it's not the way it used to be. I want to go back there.
yeah.
It's not a possibility. Psychologically, you're going there, but it's not helping your body. And if you're projecting yourself so far in the future, then you're bringing in that anxiety. It's like, I want to do this and I wish that. And it's just like, you can't have that either. It's something to be mindful of, but you have to be here today in the moment, in the present, in order to make that gentle walk into what serves you ahead. And I feel like as we're women on this journey, when we go through menopause, our bodies start showing up in a different way. And if we don't take that time to find out what she needs right now, it's causing the chaos because who you were in the past, you can't feed her the same way. You can't put her into this exhaustive regimen of exercise. It's a different way of moving and being so she can step into the next phase of her life. So for
Love
me,
that.
always stopping myself and seeing, like, am I present? And one of the things I like to do a lot is to burn a candle.
Yeah.
I have candles all around me. I can start my morning and burn that candle. That's my moment of being present. That's my moment of setting my intention for that day. That's my moment of gratitude.
Yeah. I think
So,
gratitude is such a biggie, isn't it? It's so intrinsic to creating a great life. We can all be grateful for something, even if today it's our breath. And let's
exactly.
face it, we underestimate the power of our breath. Um, there's always something to be grateful for, and I think on days when things perhaps seem tough, reminding ourselves that there is something to be grateful for is a really powerful step.
Yes, absolutely. And being with the breath is another point of healing. I spent some time in Costa Rica and I actually was surfing as a middle-aged woman in Costa Rica, and they gave us a lot of history about surfing, and we had yoga as part of this experience. But it was really important for us to think about the breath. There's a phrase that they say a lot, pure vida, and it's all about the breath. So if you find that you're in this place where you've got a lot of anxiety, you move too fast, and you want to get back to center, find the breath.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's a lot to be grateful for, because without breath, we don't have
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. It's that simple. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm running close to the end, but before we conclude, one of the things I wanted you to share with the women is you talk a lot about joy and happiness. You have your own platform, your own community, and I had joined you in talking about the joy and the happiness. So let's talk about that a little bit and leave the ladies on a really high note. Like, bring this into your life.
So I think that it's our job, every single one of us, to make ourselves happy. And I think actually people don't put enough focus on that, you know. I think that if we make ourselves happy, life works. And I think a lot of us have been brought up to think that it's not possible to be happy. You just gotta kind of get on with the grind and, you know, but actually it is our responsibility, and I think it's very, very underrated. And I think, you know, joy, fun, all those things, we need to kind of bring those in every single day. Find a way to be happy every single day. Find the joy. Look for the joy. When we look for those things, we can find them. And being, you know, having fun, being playful. It's you know, that's really important to me. So I am the happiness coach, and you know, I help people with their habits because life is made up of habits, and the quality of your life is down to the quality of your habits. And we can change anything by changing our habits. And when we change our habits, we become a different
Yes,
person.
yes, yes. So share with the ladies one of the habits that is a daily for you.
My daily is always my morning practice, which will incorporate being quiet, being grateful, reading an uplifting, inspiring, maybe 5 pages of a book, um, doing, you know, doing a bit of stretching and a bit of meditation, maybe. Um, yeah, so yeah, and just yeah, I think the practice of gratitude is really probably the most important, um, and you know, that quiet time and really kind of setting an intention for the day, I think is really, really great. Yeah, that's a no matter what, really.
I 100% concur. I call it my slow mornings. I'm in the DC metro area. I used to commute to work. It was like an hour and a half some mornings, crazy traffic, thrown into an 8 a.m. meeting. And it's just like your body from the moment you wake up, it's just you're on. So now my life has transitioned thanks to change. And I'm in the place now where my slow morning is a non negotiable. It's similar to what you were just sharing. And for me, it just sets the tone for the day. I don't feel myself in this space of anxiety like I'm late and I'm behind schedule. I just kind of flow with the day. And another part of my practice is try to get out in nature. We had snow a couple days ago and it's all over the place, and getting out, I just open the door, just like, oh, it's so beautiful. And it's just like, do I want to walk or not walk? And it's just like, part of me is like, it's so cold, but I don't want to walk, but it's so beautiful. And once you get out there and start breathing that air and looking at the scenery and looking at how nature has bought this beautiful coat for us for the winter. So I just love being out in nature and walking. That's a
Mm.
non-negotiable for me.
I think it's so changing our environment is so powerful, isn't it? And talking of environment, it's really important that our space, our home, where whatever our space is conducive to us feeling calm and feeling uplifted. You know, You know, if money's an issue, you can make small changes. You can bring color in. You can do things that actually shift. Um, you know the way your environment looks, but going out into nature, you're absolutely right, because we get a different perspective, you know, going out into to the big wide world. I mean, it's extraordinary. Nature is extraordinary, isn't it? And we are extraordinary. And you know, if we're living in a space, or you know, we're in a space, maybe even at work, that is really kind of killing our joy, then it's important to find ways to do something about it. I remember I had the plaster was blown in my due to some damp that was coming in my hallway on my
Mhm.
landing upstairs. And so what would happen was, I'd wake up and things would be great, and then I'd open my door, and then I'd go to the bathroom, and then I'd catch sight of the plaster that was blown on the wall. And at that time I didn't have the money to fix it. And so really almost my first thought was, I I don't have any money. And it was
Mhm.
right there, you know. And the thing is, when we wake up, we don't actually know who we are. It's only when we see our surroundings, we go, oh, that's who I am. I live in this space. There's a moment, there's a little gap,
Mhm.
isn't there,
Mhm.
Bev, where you wake
Yeah,
up and it's like, there's nothing there. And then you're reminded. So make sure your environment is really going to nourish you, because it's important. You're worth it.
absolutely. I totally agree. I cannot believe our time has come and gone, Julia. You are such a wealth of knowledge, so inspiring, such an amazing life you've lived. I am just so grateful for you finding the time to be with us and share with the ladies. And I know you have your own community, but if you can let the ladies know how they can find you and maybe start being a part of your community as well, I would love for you to do that.
Well, firstly, I love talking to you, and I just noticed I'm absolutely bright red. But anyway, I you can find me by going to habitfixer.com, and I have a YouTube channel, and I have all sorts of videos and blogs and all sorts of things. Yeah, and really it's a place where people can maybe get some inspiration, and maybe get some ideas, and reach out to me if they want to do that. So I really help people outside and in. So the mindset stuff, and I have physical products as well to help people with their gut and their skin and all sorts of things. So it's a kind of a whole thing, because, like I said, Bev, we are whole. We want to continue to be whole.
Yes, yes. And you are such an amazing person. The message that you're putting out for those who are not in our club of 60. Look at how Julie looked. I wouldn't have guessed she's like 67. I'm just like, oh my God. I remember when I was younger thinking like, oh my God, when you got to be 40 and it was old. And it's just like, we're so far on the other side of that. And I think we're even better because we know now that we need to put ourselves first and take care of ourselves and nourish ourselves through this journey. So, Julie, thank you for showing us what
Thank
it
you.
looks like to be in this space of life. Such a wonderful time with you today. And I wish you continued success, and I will continue to be in your community.
You will. You will. Thank you very much, Bev.
Oh. All right, ladies. So that concludes this episode of the Sexy Side of Menopause. I'm Beverly Whitlow, your host of Beverly Hills Health and Wellness Coaching. I'm a certified health coach, and I help women just like you to break through the stigma of menopause and lean into an amazing, sexy side of menopause as we navigate this journey. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.